Now, the music that you're currently listening to, everyone, is provided by the wonderful people at Holiday Rain. Please go and share some love for them, because they've been kind enough to donate their entire discography to me for play on this stream. Now, Ben, would you be kind enough to tell us a little bit about this map for those who aren't familiar with it?
Certainly. So we picked a few different maps to give some interesting dynamics rather than playing the same old maps. So this map is by ESV, and it's a pretty nice looking map. You know, it's reminds me a little bit of oh, I can't remember what map it is, but it's made some interesting games so far with this tournament. And it's been used in a few professional level tournaments, so we thought it's a pretty new map in the scheme of things, so we thought we'd definitely give it a go.
It reminds me kind of a cross between Antigua Shipyard and Metropolis. Kind of cross of the two matchup.
A little bit, yeah.
Or perhaps Metalopolis, based on the raised area in the centre. Except it's a sunken area. Anyway, let's get into that game. Let's introduce our players. In the rather happy cherry red colours, in the bottom left hand side, we have Fusion Slugs' Koreign. And over here in the bottom right hand position, throwing down this first pylon, not going for any kind of cheese as yet, just going with the standard pro pylon opening, we have Hyrlis. Now, would you be willing to tell us a little bit about these two players, how they actually ended up joining the clan?
Yeah, well, Koreign's an easy one. That was for yourself, Jed.
Yes, it
your
was, sir.
efforts in the tournament in casting. And Hyrlis, he joined with his girlfriend, who's also in this group, in Ever. So that could get a bit heated. Matchup later today.
Indeed. The thought of domestics was brought up quite a lot by our very own Dell, but we do see that Hyrlis has thrown down his gateway ever so slightly faster on 12 food instead of the standard 13. As a result, he has actually delayed his gas timing by a little bit, but these two players going for pretty standard openings, and both of them sending out their scouting probes. And Koreign's actually going to scout the correct direction first.
That's very handy there. He knows exactly, like, he's not doing any proxy playing, which makes you feel a bit nice. You're like, okay, that's the first tick box off. It's not going to be a proxy. Could still be a 4-gate or anything like that, but at least you know it's not a proxy.
Oh!
And he seems to be hiding his probe at the third.
Koreign has cancelled his cybernetics. Koreign thrown down a second gateway. Perhaps we're going to be seeing a bit of early stalker pressure from him. Do you think that was intentional?
Be zealots.
Well, perhaps a 3-stalker, but... Indeed. Perhaps a 3-stalker, but... he should have actually thrown down his cybercore if he was going to do that a lot faster. And he's actually chrono boosting out a second zealot. We're going to be seeing... oh... this probe's hiding in the natural.
Yeah.
Over at the natural base of Hyrlis.
But the cybercore is going to be quite late playing with Walkgate tech, so I'm not 100% sure what his intention here. And if you're doing a 3-stalker rush, you can go cybercore first. So I think these zealots are just going to go in and try and catch.
Well, they do manage to snipe that scouting probe, denying vision of the base. So Hyrlis is actually in the dark right now as to what Koreign has in his main. Koreign has already jumped in, had a full scout, and we see Hyrlis throwing down a robotics facility and his second gateway. He has a sentry ready, but a sentry and a zealot versus 3 zealots, this actually is not boding well for him.
But the sentry does have a force field, and that's the key. If he gets the force field, he's completely safe. The more interesting thing is that there's a twilight down now for Koreign.
Well, we do see these two zealots are arriving. Nice force field, but there's just enough room for these zealots to get up the ramp. Koreign pulling back the weakened zealot. And actually, the sentry does not have enough energy for another force field. We do see that one zealot's getting taken out, and nice kiting for the stalker here, but this sentry is going to get chased down. And he gets the sentry. So
that was so close.
That was very nice early pressure. We do see that warp gate has finished up, so Hyrlis should be able to hold off this pressure. But we see that Zealot just diving into the mineral line, not going to be that effective anymore, but we do see he's got a complete scout off of the main for actually a very minute cost. He's seen the robotics, and another Zealot coming in. That's not going to bode well for him.
Yeah, he's got a good scout here, but the problem he has is he's actually behind because he delayed his cyber core and that sort of stuff. He's also supply blocked. But he's gone Dark Shrine. The problem though is that there's already a robo here, and there's already an observer on the way. So, yeah, Hyrlis is in a really good position here. As long as he finds that probe and kills it, and so there's no DTs warped into his main, he should be fine.
Indeed, but this probe has, as yet, still not thrown down the proxy pylon. And I'm not entirely certain, but yes, Hyrlis has absolutely no idea about this pylon if it gets warped in now. But we do see that the observer is...
Probe,
yeah, we do see the observer is going to be put in the main rather than sent to scout the opponent, which is actually going to bode quite well for him in the case of DTs. And meanwhile, we do see the other observer has actually just arrived. Dark Shrine's finished, but Koreign is way too late with this. Meanwhile, we see Koreign going for a ninja expansion in the top left-hand side.
Oh no, he gave away his DT by attacking the Nexus. That's not a good thing. Oh, lovely block.
Very nice force field.
DT on the ramp.
The observer moves back, and goodbye Mr. DT, and goodbye Mr. Scouting Probe. And Hyrlis is going to move over and see this. Yeah, Koreign's in a lot of trouble right now. He's behind, there's an observer flying around his main. We do see some zealots being warped in. Probably we'll be seeing charge researched quite soon from Koreign if he's going to go with a standard follow-up to this. And perhaps go for some zealot Archon play.
The usual answer for a protoss from behind is the Dark Shrine. Unfortunately, he's already done that. So what's the next thing you do? You ninja expand to the top of the map. That's what you do.
And he has done that. We see actually he's only got 2 guys on his assimilator in his main over at Koreign's base. We do see several probes transferring up to the top left, and meanwhile in production we just see that Hyrlis went ahead, get more ahead, more gas, soon probably more gateways, and taking up 2 Colossus while building some extra immortals. We do see a Forge finishing now. Perhaps he's going to throw down a cannon for some extra detection outside his natural, just in case he moves out with the observer, and that will allow him to continue production of his Colossus, of his immortals, without needing to invest heavily into observer tech.
That's not a bad idea either, especially at this level. It's one cannon won't hurt him, especially because it can cover the whole ramp. But he does have 2 observers at least out on the map. We do see charges almost finished for Koreign, so
indeed,
spot on there. And his Robo is finally up as well, so we'll see if what Koreign decides to transition into. He's got Zealot Archon is his most obvious choice, but if the Colossus count gets too high, he's going to need something else.
That he is. Extended Thermal Lance is 50% complete, and I actually really like the play from Hyrlis at the moment. He's keeping up with his pylons, he's not getting supply blocked, slightly oversaturated at the natural, but we do see a probe moving, and there goes a cannon. He's now covered his ramp. All he needs to do is leave 1 or 2 units back home, and he should be able to take out any kind of DT pressure. I'm not quite so sure I like the positioning of the cannon at Hyrlis' natural though. perhaps behind this pylon here, where the sentries and immortals are, would have actually been a little bit better, because that would have actually covered the area up to the 2 gateways he's throwing down now.
Yeah,
but we do see Hyrlis is moving up to take a third. We do see Hyrlis is trying to take a third, but Koreign's probe is just saying, nah, not allowed. Doesn't manage to get any hull damage off, just takes off the shields. And here goes the third. Oh no! 2 zealots have found this expansion, and Koreign is going to be really far behind after this. Yeah, these 2 zealots doing so much damage.
That was the only thing that was going to keep Koreign in this game, was to have this expansion that Hyrlis never knew about to keep him up economy-wise, and now he's going to be very far behind.
Indeed. And we do see that Koreign has not even started his robotics tech. He's throwing down a Stargate, interestingly enough. Now,
I like that choice.
He does actually have his natural expansion going down, which is quite nice. I like the idea that he could go for Void Rays to perhaps deal with any kind of Colossus push, but versus 3 robotics facilities worth of Colossus production, I really cannot see how Koreign can keep up with this.
You need to add some more Stargates. Go double Stargate, go Phoenix. That's what I would do in this situation. I think it's all he can do to keep in a game. If he gets a high enough Phoenix count, he can take the Colossi out really quickly, because there's not a huge amount of anti-air from Hyrlis, and then he can pick up the Immortals after that.
Indeed.
But it will take a bit of micro.
We do see that Koreign's going for a pretty good response to the number of Colossus which would be getting produced. He's going quite heavily into Immortals, trying to do a little bit of harassment over here at the third, but with a cannon, 3 gateways blocking it off, he's not going to be in that much danger, and we see Hyrlis is moving across the map now. 3 Immortals, not 3 Colossus, 2 Immortals, 9 Stalkers and 6 Sentries, and 9 Zealots. Versus actually a rather small army of Koreign. I really cannot see Koreign holding this off. And very nice splits off from Hyrlis, sending 2 Zealots up to this expansion to just deal with any extra economy that Koreign tries to get. And here's the army.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty rough.
Very nice force fields. Traps most of this army, and he's going to get 2 Immortals for basically nothing.
Yeah, most of the Zealots were behind those forces. It's excellent for him. He's done it again. That's fantastic. There's nothing Koreign can do now. He just lost way too much.
Indeed. He tried to warp in DTs to deal with this army, but these very nice micro from Hyrlis actually, microing back that weakened observer. Here come the 2 Void Rays. And actually, if he's able to take out all of these Stalkers, he should be okay, but there's just too many of them. 6 Stalkers, oftentimes greater than 2 Void Rays. GG, game 1. Now, how much do you know about Norse mythology, Ben?
Not a huge amount, a bit.
Because that's where we're going into for this map.
Wisdom.
Oh yes. This map's name, Muspelheim, is actually the name of one of the fire domains in the realms of Norse mythology. It is ruled over, it's essentially equivalent to the realm of Hell, and it's ruled over by the demon lord Surtur. It's also instrumental in the beginnings of Ragnarok, at the end of Norse mythology tales.
Yes, I know about that one. Cool, that's awesome. Yeah, clever, very clever. I like it.
Thank you. Anyway, we are starting, and in the bottom right hand position, currently down 1-0, hoping to come back, we have Fusion Slugs' Koreign. Would you be kind enough to introduce our other players, sir?
Certainly. So, up in the top left, we have our blue protoss, who won the last game. He is Hyrlis.
Now, we do see that these players are not going to be going for any kind of cheese. We don't see a mega fast scout out from anybody. We do see Hyrlis going for a scout after pylon. Now, on a two-player map, do you prefer to scout after pylon or after gateway, sir?
I do scout after pylon. I like that, especially well, on a two-player map. I definitely scout after pylon. Just I find that you catch the any sort of proxies and that sort of stuff a lot better. On a four-player map, I don't feel as stressed about that sort of strategy, which is all I'm trying to catch by pylon scouting. So I'll gateway scout then.
I always find that just by modifying your scouting path, it's possible to account for any kind of proxy gates or pylons that you could have. Such as, if you scout at 12 or 13 after a gateway, and you scout your natural, you actually will be able to spot a proxy 2 gate, which is currently in process of warping in. Neither of the gateways will actually be finished, and you'll be able to throw down your response pretty much immediately without any loss to economy. So I actually prefer to scout after gateway. So we do see here that Hyrlis is getting his gas down a little bit after Koreign, and also his cybernetics core is coming down a little bit later as well. So
yeah, but he's actually the probe lead.
He does have
so
a rather significant probe lead. I believe we may be seeing a 4-gate out of Koreign here.
Yeah, probably.
But a second gas. Interesting.
Now what I would have loved to have seen then was him put down that second gas while the probe was in the base and then counter it.
Indeed.
To make Hyrlis think he's getting the second gas and then 4-gate. But I don't think he's going to 4-gate now. And Hyrlis, wow, his supply is already 7 up.
Well, he has invested an additional 3 chrono boosts into pro production, which just goes to show, in the early game, you can actually gain so much economy-wise just through use of that chrono boost. We see that Warpgate for Koreign is slightly ahead, but the probe lead is just massive right now.
Yeah, well, Koreign just chrono boosted Warpgate once and his Nexus, and now he's chrono boosting his gateway, so he's kind of sharing it all. But I'm not sure to what end. It's like it's a little bit like he's trying to do a bit of everything, which means, I think he probably could be a little bit more focused on what he's trying to do here, because he cut probes as well early. There was definitely a cut of probes to be that far behind. He's chronoing his gateway again. Actually, he's chronoing out sentries. So he's worried about a 4-gate.
Definitely is. He's got his robotics, and with 2 sentries out, he will be perfectly fine against any kind of 4-gate pressure that comes. But he's getting 3 stalkers out from his opponent here. Oh no, he's actually changed one to a sentry.
Yep. So they're both not doing that dissimilar builds, really, just getting there in different ways. They both got a robo, and they both got 2 gates.
And we now see an expansion from Hyrlis.
Oh, I like that. I like that. It's very aggressive.
And this probe's going to see everything.
Oh, that's so key. Hyrlis must be loving life right now. He's like, okay, I won the first game. I just got the money scout. My opponent's doing the exact same thing I am, but he hasn't put a Nexus down.
Indeed, we have quite an advantage here, and we even see, even though Koreign's getting his first Immortal faster, and has managed to normalize the probe count ever so slightly, this expansion is going to be very telling. And oh, he got the Observer.
The reason why
Hyrlis just sniped an Observer.
Evening out is Hyrlis stopped putting workers for a little bit there. He must have been distracted and he's now supply blocked, but he stopped putting workers. and Koreign is caught up in the work account just from constant pro production.
Indeed. But we did actually see there, looking at the vision, Koreign has absolutely no idea what his opponent is doing, because that observer just got sniped. He should be able to deduce that there's a robotics, but he did not get a gateway count. He doesn't know if there's an all-in coming, and he hasn't actually seen this expansion. He's seen a gateway on the low ground, so he can probably assume there's an expansion.
Now?
I think he may actually just be going for a proxy
Yeah,
pylon
I'll
here.
assume that too.
We do see a warp prism in production here, so perhaps he's going to go for an immortal drop, or attempt to do some kind of zealot harassment. But again, he is very far behind right now. With the second Nexus up, we see Hyrlis is investing quite heavily. Oh, go on, do it. I love immortal drops.
And he's getting Colossi now, eyes, so that he's going to be ahead in Colossi count. Carl is only starting his robot right now, and yeah, if he doesn't see this coming, Hyrlis is going to do quite a bit of damage.
Indeed, and there's actually very little anti-air here. We have 2 Stalkers and 4 Sentries, but everything is currently down at the natural. Hyrlis could drop in, take out this robo, or perhaps even all 3 of these pylons, and then just get out.
And there he goes, he's going to drop in.
He's going to go for the probe line. And how quick are the reactions going to be? We have 2, 3 probes down, 4, 5, and that's it.
He probably should go away now, because otherwise they're still going to die. Yep, he goes away now, good boy.
Very
Good
nice harassment there, does a bit of damage, delays a lot of mining time. And actually, in the units killed, he's killed off 7 workers in that. That was actually a worthwhile harassment. And this warp prism is just going to go home, and it's actually going to force Hyrlis into a much more defensive stance. We see Koreign is actually ahead in terms of deaths today. We've got the extended thermal lance currently underway.
Just a quick one, mate, your mic's starting to get high pitched.
Oh dear.
The string can hear it better.
I will lean back a little
If
bit.
it is, they're probably bleeding.
I will lean back a little bit. But Hyrlis has actually seen the double robo, he's seen the Colossus in production. What is his response going to be? Another robotics and more Colossus. And he's chrono boosting his extended thermal lance to try and catch up with Koreign's production. We're going to see a late game PvP.
Definitely. And if the worker count is a little bit ahead for Hyrlis again, even though he took some hits there, he's been good at his pro production after getting the second Nexus up. And but apart from that, they're not too dissimilar. The Colossi count is the same, Immortal count's the same, which is the key units here. Hyrlis does have a few more sentries, but they're not going to be very important with Colossi on the field.
Indeed. They could be effective in the earlier tier pushes, prior to late game Archon Colossus compositions, but up until that point it's not really going to be that damaging. Now, Koreign has actually seen this proxy pylon, or this pylon at the 3rd going down, so all he has to do is move this observer. He's going to see the natural, but Hyrlis sees this observer. Why he hasn't moved to take it out, I don't know. And, the observer gets away. Koreign actually responding, throwing down his 3rd base as well. But look at the units tab.
And he got the Immortals to the main.
Again, oh my word. 2 kills, 3 kills.
So much damage.
And they are going to get away. What I would like to see Koreign get right now, actually, is Warp Prism speed. Now that would be a very useful... Oh no! These 2 Stalkers missed it completely on the move command. But yeah, I would actually
looks
like to
it might get
see
away.
Koreign invest in Warp Prism speed, and he's going to get a confirmed scout of the third now, in addition to a cannon and 2 gateways, and I really like this cannon. I'm not sure about you, but during late game PvP... Oh no!
This makes caught out.
Such a big loss.
No.
2 Immortals and a Warp Prism. So many resources lost there. And just with that one swoop, Koreign has gone from being ahead to very far behind. Almost double the resources lost now.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake there. That's really gonna put him behind, and it makes Hyrlis feel very safe now. He knows those 2 Immortals aren't coming back in that Warp Prism. So, but we're still on 3 bases each now, so there's still time.
We have 2 probes here, interestingly, just doing nothing for Koreign in the middle of the map. And given he is currently slightly behind on the probe count, it would be nice to see them either go out and put down proxy pylons at the sides of the map, or actually just take these Zelnaga watchtowers, which are as yet uncontested. We have this movement of stalkers down here, and with an observer on the way, I believe we're going to see a blink up into the main.
Oh wow, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I reckon we might too. And I wonder where he's coming up here.
He's going to try
the Templar Archive.
If he gets the Templar Archives, this is going to be huge. Storm has finished, but oh, a huge Storm.
Gets the Observer? Yes.
He gets the Observer, but that...
no more Templar for a bit.
Was that worthwhile though? He sent down about 8 Stalkers to die just to delay Templar attack. Like that.
I think that's definitely worth it. Stalkers are cheap in the end of the day, and the time it's going to take for the Templar tech to come back online lets him catch up his own Templar count, which was behind. So he can get his Archon force up a lot quicker. But I mean, it might not make a big difference because it doesn't look like he's going to push out anyway. He's just sitting in his base. But yeah, it was a nice attempt to get something happening. He hadn't really put much pressure on Koreign so far, so that's a positive there.
Very true. We do see a much higher production of Immortals now at this point, and when you've got 6 Colossus, I think it is quite safe to start taking in or investing into Immortals, perhaps get a few Archons and really bolster your composition a little bit. But we do see that Koreign is throwing down a Dark Shrine and his Stargate, perhaps going to be transitioning into a Fleet Beacon and Mothership tech soon.
Well, maybe. I'm actually a little bit not sure about High Templar in PvP. I prefer personally to go DTs, just because one, obviously there's a difference in cost there. A little bit less gas, more minerals but less gas used for the Dark Templar, so your Archon's a little bit gas cheaper. And because Storm isn't that useful, feedback isn't that useful, and DTs by themselves without being Archons, obviously you can use them to harass and deny expansion, catch mistakes or snipe observers and kill armies.
Indeed. We do see that in terms of upgrades, Hyrlis has not actually been that on par with Koreign. Koreign's got the armor advantage and is actually in process of researching +2/+2, while we see that Hyrlis is actually just researching his +1 armor right now.
Yeah, well, Hyrlis is on +2 attack now. That just finished, so there's only going to be a 1 armor difference. Both players really haven't spent enough time getting upgrades. They should probably all be right near 3/3, but the 4th of Hyrlis is under attack. I believe he made it right underneath a Warp Prism. So he will stop this attack. It will save the Nexus.
Yeah, the Warp Prism is over here by the 3rd. I would like to see him warp in some Zealots right now and actually go for harassment while he knows that army is out of position. But Koreign
unfortunately, he's maxed.
Just leaving it here, and he is indeed maxed. Warping in 7 High Templar back home, perhaps for Storms, or I would have liked to see him turn those new ones into Archons.
Yeah, we've got charge coming down for Koreign too now, so he's maxed out. Hyrlis pretty much is maxed out too. Both of them throwing down a lot of cannons at their well, third for Koreign and at the fourth for Hyrlis. And so now what they really need to do is invest in gateways. They should probably get somewhere near 20, would be great for this stage, considering how many bases they're on. How many is... I'll count gateways while you keep going. I'll let you know how much they have.
Well, the +2/+2 has just finished for Koreign. He's currently sending a group of zealots, unfortunately, directly to their doom based on where Hyrlis' army is. Or is it? Yes, they've been spotted, and oftentimes 8 Colossus is greater than a number of zealots. And Koreign's
so Hyrlis has 18.
Hyrlis has 18 gateways. I don't like the position of the fourth base here from Koreign. This is so vulnerable. But it is very well protected by this shrubbery, and even though the army has just walked past it, he cannot see it. The concave, amazing for Koreign right now. And we see Storm just obliterating the shields of those immortals. And we actually see...
But the problem for Koreign is the gateway count. He only has 7 active warp gates.
Indeed, but we do see this Void Ray is completely uncontested and able to take out this last Colossi, but 5 DTs. Oh my word.
Each player.
We have DTs from each player moving in. Oh,
and there's no observers anywhere. Oh my.
But we do see that Hyrlis is actually doing a lot of damage to the economy right now, taking out so many probes. Meanwhile, Koreign's DTs are just obliterating these stalks in the middle. Another observer has joined the party, but these DTs over here are doing so much damage. And the mothership will finish so that these new DTs that have just arrived can remain cloaked under any circumstance. And oh my word.
Unfortunately, there's an observer.
DTs versus DTs. And we do see
Koreign only one side has an observer.
Oh my god, Koreign is not making an observer.
And there's an attack at the third as well now of Koreign. Lots of cannons here, but it's not going to be enough to hold off definitely Zealots and Dark Templar. I think Koreign might just get overrun here.
I believe you may be right. We see this observer in the middle of the map for Koreign. Really should have been heading back home. And Koreign himself should have walked in an observer a lot sooner rather than allowing those 2 Colossi to finish. Because oftentimes, a couple of DTs are greater than Colossus.
Definitely, and again, his problem is warp gates. Like he's built a few more gates now, but he's still only on 11. And he gets so much resources he does have right now. He needs that on the field.
That he does. We see him re-establishing this third base, but currently he's only mining properly off of 1 base, and that base has just been scouted.
Yeah, the DT is going to town here too.
Taking out the gas. I actually like that choice to attack the gas rather than the Nexus. Because in late game, if you know that you've taken out all of the gas that your opponent has, he has Zealots left. And Zealots are frankly just better than most of the non-gas units. Or better than the low gas units.
Yep, totally agree. I think I like that choice too. Takes out the Nexus now as well, and the DTs will probably get cleaned up here because he's not really paying attention to them. But
well, they do get taken out.
Still,
and Koreign has actually managed to build a strong army, but back home we see Archons, one being moved along inside the bulk of this army while morphing in, which is a rather cool sight. But DT, Archon, Zealot, Stalker, and some Colossus, this is just going to be too much. We're going to need to see a Vortex, and we're going to need to see it now. Oh, very nice vortex. And if Koreign's actually smart here, he will just leave these Colossi outside of the vortex. But oh no!
Oh no! Don't go in there. Oh, this is going to be
this
amazing.
This is going to be painful.
What is going to live?
Oh my god.
Pretty much everything dies.
We see Hyrlis actually gets out of that with 3 Colossi, and there's the G.